gloomy place. You know, even though it's an alliance race, we wanted to give a little bit of spookiness, a little bit of kind of a Halloween flavor.
When we were starting Cataclysm, we realized there was so much stuff that we wanted to correct from the old game that we never had a chance to when we first shipped the game, and now that we have more technology and more tools available, we can go back now with this expansion and correct a lot of things that we always wanted to. One of the tasks we were planning to work on was the element trees for the starting area for the humans. And for that particular zone, we decided to overhaul the tree style, but also try to keep it in tune with the original element trees, so there's not a big contrast. So players that appreciate the old world can still hop in and feel like nothing's changed, but something looks nicer, and they don't know what it is.
One of the most difficult parts of making any of these zones is the lighting. It's very hard to do. I had to light everything with this light spheres that were difficult to move and hard to save. No zone is circular, so I just asked one of our programmers if I could just outline a zone and attach a light to it. And he said, you know what, I think we can do that. And he came up with this great tool, where here you can see Kalimdor, where I could just outline a zone and attach a light to it and throw some light spheres in there if I wanted to. This is huge for me. I thought it'd be kind of cool to show that off. Big change. Another big change we have is something we call Live Update, where here we are, I can paint inside the editor, but I can also see it happening live in-game at the same time. This is
previously
huge.
We would have to build the train, then get a build of the game, and then finally go run around in the train. Now we can simply
Technically.
push and pull mountains up and down while we have a character sitting right on top of the mountain or beside it, and we can instantly get that relationship. So it's been extremely useful just for setting up vistas, for creating POIs, landmarks, all of that sort of thing. It just gives us a really quick way to get feedback on what we're doing, and since we are building such large-scale features, I mean, it's just great. You know, we're moving huge amounts of terrain and geometry around it, so it's nice to have such immediate feedback.
Gus there was painting on something called a Cintiq. We also get to do all of the loading screens for any of the dungeons. We also get to do the character creation screens, and this year we got to do the login screen. What you're going to see next, this is a character creation screen that Dion Rogers did for the Worgen. So these screens have to load very quickly. So we're going to show you something quick that really helps that happen. That background is actually 6 high-res pictures that make it look 3D. I apologize for some people that I had to show you that. We also got to do the login screen. The login screens are very important. We want it to be very epic. It's the first thing you're going to see in the game, so we really worked hard on making this special. First, we wanted to do something like the Maelstrom, you know, big swirling water, and we thought that would be the way to go. Wasn't quite working out. I think there's a slide here coming up. We weren't sure we liked that. We thought we'd go with something more traditional, like a portal of some kind. So we thought we would look into some of the Twilight Hammer stuff and started to make a portal like that, and that's the direction we went in. These are some of the early concepts. And here's some progression shots. No one has ever seen this. Hardly anybody on the art team has seen this. So that was our final login screen. But hold on. Hold on. Thank you. Thank you. We liked this a lot, but then we didn't like it. We felt that nobody would really understand who the Twilight Hammer was. It's high-level content. You wouldn't even see it. So we actually started over. This was literally months ago, and we sat down, and Metzen said, look, all I want is something black, something red, and something dragon. And we were like, well, that's not really our direction, but we'll look at what we've got. And we had that old desktop picture that has been around earlier this year of Deathwing on top of some building. And we're like, well, that's pretty cool. That makes a little more sense. Let's kind of look at something in that direction. And then we remember the cinematic just got finished where Deathwing lands on Stormwind. And we're like, well, that is a classic image. It's a classic fantasy dragon on top of a castle. The cinematic is going to end. You're going to see the login screen. Let's do it with that. So we did a quick sketch, and we started working on a new login screen. This was literally weeks ago. You guys ready to see the final version? There it is. Beautiful. This isn't shown anywhere at Blizzcon, so thanks for coming to this program. I also got a little behind-the-scenes version of this, just like the log of the character creation screen. This is a quick turnaround. We're only going to build what you see, so there's a lot of stuff missing, but it's interesting to look at. So I've shown you something great and ruined it at the same time. A lot of work went into this. Thank you. To the cinematics team for helping us do this, and real special thanks to Arjun Prakash and Chase Levin for helping us film that.
So I think we still have a few minutes if you guys have any questions. We're going to be taking a couple of questions. Do we have time?
Please, 1 second, please.
And everybody, we're done.
They're going to ask questions. 1 second.
Oh, is this a line?
Closing.
Did a good
Am
job,
I good to
Eric.
go whenever?
Yep.
Okay. My daughter has been drawing since she was 2 years old. Now she's 12. She's an incredible artist, and the only want she has in life is to become a Blizzard employee and artist. What would your advice be to have an artist, go through in college to get where you guys are?
That's a noble goal for sure. My advice, and you guys feel free to disagree with me on this one, but I really don't think that, man, this is going to sound bad, but I really don't think that college, what school you go to, really matters that much. The things that we look for are talent, obviously, first and foremost. Passion and personality probably come in second, and it's hard to choose which one of those goes over the other. But if she's really focused on coming to Blizzard and working on a Blizzard game, then it really just comes down to know the style. Like, have her play these games, have her draw it. Like, I think, most of our artists learned from just drawing things that they liked and things that they were into, and then got to a point where they did it for a living. So if you're a fan, then that's probably good. Just keep her on that track, and she should be good to go.
Okay, so first of all, thanks. All of the art that is involved in these games has always been a huge inspiration for anybody that likes to actually do anything in the type of art. I have a little more specific on the actual portfolios. For somebody who's interested in concept art and trying to get into that industry, if you guys like to see things that are original in themselves but can obviously fit into the worlds that already exist, or if you guys like to see more of replication to show that we understand that theme.
Definitely a combination of the two. It's important to show that you have an understanding for the style, but it's also everyone that we bring in, we want to bring in people that have a unique look at what we're doing and can bring something different to and develop our style. It's also very important, and a lot of people overlook the fact that this concept art is going to need to be used to create three-dimensional art. So having an understanding of three-dimensional art when you're concepting is very important. And while you may not have to be a modeler or a texture artist necessarily, learning that skill and being able to take your concepts into that space is important, and will show us that you understand when you're thinking of these things how they're actually going to play out when we build them and texture them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Hi. So there's been some talk on the forums and even some response from the Blues that the art team was going to take a graphical upgrade on the vanilla playable races, as far as redoing the humans, redoing the trolls, the texture upgrade, poly count. And I know that wasn't going to make launch of Cataclysm, but I heard that it was in the works. Could you give us an update on that?
Sure. I completely agree. I think we all agree that our player characters are one of the things that's most behind as far as updating goes. So we do have plans to do it. When exactly that's going to happen, I can't tell you. And actually, I don't know. But we're actually in progress on reconcepting some of that stuff, some of the player characters, and definitely feel like we want to roll it out sooner than later so that everything feels consistent in the world.
We have time for about one or two more questions.
Hi. I love what you've been doing with the changes in Orgrimmar, having it transition to the new forms, and even the damage that you've done now with Stormwind. And I'm wondering now, since these models are in the system, and so you have the ability to change them more easily than this whole project, say for the next expansion, would we see a further upgrade where Orgrimmar would be completed and Stormwind would be repaired now that the whole Deathwing story is over at that point?
Sure, I can answer that. We do have plans, because we're able to patch up new artwork. You will see kind of a progression of that. And, as new stories come across, who knows, they might get destroyed again. So you never know.
Okay, so I have a mini pet question. If you're ever going to make like a mini Zealot that can have a three-way fight with Grunty and the Zergling?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have plans for it, but that's cool. That's a cool idea.
Thank you again for all the art that you've done. It's fantastic. I just want another round of applause because it's awesome.
Thank you.
Quick
The artists
question.
are in the audience, so thank them. It's them.
I don't know if it was brought up a while ago, but there's kind of these iconic things that different character classes wear, such as, you've got the Druid with the horns, Paladins with their Librams. I know that Librams were changed and relics were changed and all that stuff in a recent patch. Was it ever going to be introduced where, like, Paladins could actually have that book? Like, every, race of every, Paladin would have that book and it would be used, or because you have the item, but you don't see it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we are. One of the things that I want to focus on coming up in the future is not only just that, but also what we do with our armor sets, because I think that's, along with player characters, that's getting a little tired. So we definitely want to approach those things at the same time, like make sure that all of our armor sets are feeling very distinct and updated, but that we're also incorporating things like totems and Librams so that it feels specific to your class, and you get this item and it's actually on your character, you can see it, and it doesn't just feel like an icon in your bar or whatever. So yes.
Yeah.
That's all we have. Thank you for attending the World of Warcraft art panel. Coming up next on this stage at 4:30, we have the Blizzard sound panel. Let's give one last round of applause to our lead artist.